Mga kabayan, good morning to you all, I guess. Almost morning in the Philippines. Good afternoon here in United States, in South Carolina. It's 5:40. I'm a little bit late coming out to work, mga kabayan. It's 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Just closed, yes, in the previous episode, mga kabayan. So let's talk again, mga kabayan, about our episode is Kabayan, USAp tayo, talking and driving. So I'm talking while driving. And this episode, mga kabayan, is about the revelation, or talking about myself. And if you have any question, mga kabayan, just drop down your question. Anything, living in the United States, so I've already talked some about me. I talked already about me, and in the previous episode, please watch, mga kabayan, the previous episode. I would say it's already 12. This is the 13th episode, mga kabayan. Please watch all the videos, and please thumbs up, and please leave your comments if you have kind of suggestion or question, anything you want to say, mga kabayan. Please drop down your comment, mga kabayan. And thank you so much, mga kabayan, for continuously helping me and support me in my channel, Kabayan, Try Mo To Vlog. Okay, so you've already know me somewhere about, I would say, 30% or 40. And you know already, mga kabayan, in the previous episode, I told you that I have a gay spouse, gay partner, we can say that. So his name is Keith, and I love him so much. And as for me, Keith is God's gift and blessing to me. I love him so dearly and so much. And you know already, mga kabayan, in the previous episode, that we met together 2009 in Manila, Philippines. We stayed in I don't know, it starts with letter R, in Makati, the condo, Rockefeller. No, that's not. It starts with letter R. I just forgotten, because I remember, mga kabayan, at that time that what you call this, that condo is kind of weird. The outside, there's no AC. The inside, of course, there's an AC, but it's so hot whenever you're out in your condo, because we just rented the condo in Makati, and then we visited in Manila the Mall of Asia, some Tagaytay, and other locations in Manila that is some kind of historical places. And then we stayed together for a week in in Manila. Then after that, my partner Keith, returned back to the United States. And the history and the future is this, mga kabayan. And we talk about, about if you're looking for a foreigner, spouse, husband, wife, or whatever you're looking for. As I said in the previous episode, you need to be ready. You need to evaluate yourself. How ready are you to have this commitment? And how flexible are you that you will be able to adapt the new environment and the new location, and of course not only location, other country. So you need to be extra careful, mga kabayan, and don't be in hurry, mga kabayan, in making decision. It's because once you've already made the decision, mga kabayan, either you will be coming back and forth to Philippines and United States or other country, or you will be staying for longer before you can return back. Because remember, mga kabayan, just the ticket itself is too expensive. And it's a long distance, mga kabayan. It's about, I don't know, about 25 hours? I guess, about 25 to 26 hours. And you're gonna change from one plane to another. And if you do the first class, oh my gosh, that's super expensive. You're going to spend a lot of money in US dollars. So that's why our pre-plan hopefully is gonna work with God's blessing and God's help. Our pre-plan, mga kabayan, is that hopefully by 2025 we will be returning back in the Philippines for the case will be second time, will be my first time coming back home in the Philippines, in Bicol, Legazpi. So it takes a while, mga kabayan. It's 12 years. So it's going to be about 15 years not coming back to the Philippines. So I've already adapted living in the United States, mga kabayan. So the weather, the people, you know what I mean? I've already adapted. This is my home, mga kabayan. This is my home. Philippines is my second home now. This is my home. As I told you in the previous episode, mga kabayan, I'm a little bit homesick. About, one in a year. I'm kinda hoping to eat the Filipino food. But in some way, I think, what year was that? About 2000, I came 2010, about 2012 or 13. We are trying to make a tradition for December. Whenever we travel, we look for a Filipino restaurant, and then we buy food there. Just like last year when we had a Miami trip, mga kabayan, we found a restaurant there in Miami, and then we bought that one as our Christmas tradition. We ate it. it's kind of, reminds me of the Filipino taste of food that I used to be, that I normally eat from childhood until I came here to the States. I don't know what was my age when I came here to the States, but it's the late 20s. It's about 23, 24 or something like that. So that's why, mga kabayan, I urge you to extra careful, make sure that you are ready, and don't just make a radical and quick decision. And make sure that you spend more time with your family, your real family, before leaving them and going to the States, because you're gonna miss them physically, especially if especially if you're going to coming back to the Philippines not frequent, once in a 5 years, once in a 10 years, or not. And if you have the similar experience, mga kabayan, please drop down the comment, and I'm happy to read your message. And if you are planning to come here in the States and you have question, particularly anything or everything that you want to ask, please drop down a question in the comment section. I will be happily answer you directly, honestly, and frankly. I'm not going to, round the bush the answer. I'm going to tell you no or yes or whatever is your question. I'm not going to say 50-50. Can be, but I wanted to make sure that you are getting the right answer based on my experience. It doesn't matter, mga kabayan, if you're already driving when you come to the States or Canada or whatever country. You're just going to learn fast those stuff, because as I told you, mga kabayan, and if you know that I have only one arm, one hand, that I'm driving, so what more if you have two hands? You can drive really good. And then I remember in Alabama when I got my first driving test, I was so nervous and came early and then prepared myself, going to online, read those, remembering the different signs and everything, and then going online looking for question and answer thing. So I'm trying to maximize as much as I can, because there's some online test that you're going to answer, and then they're going to tell you if it's correct or wrong answer. That there's some explanation. So I just wanted to test my knowledge about the different signs and different situations, and then the questions online is kind of close enough to the real question, but not all kind of the same. It's just the concept. You should know the concept, mga kabayan. That's what I'm trying to say. You need to know your concept, and then that will be all. And then I passed for the first time in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Yeah, that's Tuscaloosa. Yeah. When I had my test, it's a computerized. So you're just going to select from the options and click and then touch it. So I did not do the paper-based. So they're immediately going to give you whether you pass or not, and then how many that you missed with a question. And I did not have had a perfect score, mga kabayan. I had a mistake, one or two, I don't know. But I passed in the written test for driving. And then my next one, I didn't do it at the same time because I haven't yet practiced my driving. Because once you take the driving test, it's the second one before you're going to get your driver's license, there will be somebody at your side will be grading you on how you drive, mga kabayan. So at that time, mga kabayan, my first car, used car, I think I already told you, my first car and used car, mga kabayan, that my partner Keith bought me was 2009 it's a what you call this, not Toyota, Honda Civic Blue. It's called, as in the Philippines, Kotse na blue Honda Civic. It's a used car. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we bought that one somewhere about close to December. I think November, close to December. The reasoning for buying me a car, because I need to practice in driving. So the reasoning why it's used vehicle, if in case that, you know, I bump it, I'm going to have a collision or whatever. Oh, thank God that I don't have. And in case that will be happening, it's used car, not a new one. So I got a new one when I felt, and then I remember, because the vehicle is a used vehicle, and it's a used vehicle, and then I had a battery problem. So when I turn on, it's not turning on the car. So we went to, I think it was Jumpstart or whatever, and then we went to one of the, you know, that you can buy a battery. Then it was replace the battery. I think we spent about $100+ for that. And then I felt that I smell something, a gasoline inside. So my spouse told me to trade that car, because that car we still doing a car payment. So we loaned the car, that used car, but we almost finished of that because it's not quite expensive with the new car. And then what they have done, mga kabayan, if you trade that car and buy a new car to them, so they're going to give you a value of your car, and then what they're going to do, mga kabayan, is that they're going to pay first the car that you trade in, whether you have an equity. No, more than likely you don't have an equity or a wash. We called it, mga kabayan, as wash whenever it's a break even, wash or a break even. So meaning you don't owe anything for that particular car, but sometimes you have a negative equity. So meaning the value of the car is lower than what you owe. So meaning if you have a negative equity, mga kabayan, to your car, it will add up to your existing loan, your negative equity. That's why before, mga kabayan, the car is pretty much no value, unless otherwise you're going to buy an expensive car, an expensive vehicle. That's the time, mga kabayan, that the value remains the same as long as you're not overdriving it. You understand what I mean? The mileage of your car, because the car itself, the mileage of it is going to predict whether how much is going to be reduced the value. Okay, so now I think we have a negative equity for that car, and it's built up to the car that I have had. I think my second car was Chevrolet. Yeah, it's a Chevrolet, but honestly, mga kabayan, I just don't like it, because we need to spend money for the cruise control, because there's no cruise control, because that one is kind of cheaper model, because I don't like to really overspend with the car, because I know that the car have no much value, no value, and the value quickly reduce dramatically when the time that you drive the car and you own it. But at this moment, mga kabayan, because of the pandemic and the shortage of car, the car at this time, mga kabayan, it's expensive. Same time, the used car, you can able to sell higher than before, because before it was average of cars, of the used cars. Now, because of the demand of the car, and then the supply is lesser than the demand, so that's why it creates value, mga kabayan, the used vehicle. Okay, so let's discuss this one, mga kabayan, in the next episode if you have a question. But we will discuss further about, owning a car here in the States, and about my experience about it, and I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so thank you so much, mga kabayan, and hope that you have a wonderful day today, and I'm gonna sign off. See you again on the next episode. God bless, mga kabayan.